The founders of this great country never intended an overpowering federal government to control everything. They had a vision of free states united in commonalities, but independent enough to protect individual liberty. This was tested with the Civil War, for sure. But even then, the idea was for states to work together, but to function with independence on most matters of life. As Western expansion passed the Continental Divide, the federal government grew more powerful and states became more servants of the nation than independent parts of it. Amazingly, over half of all land in Western states is controlled by the federal government. That's hard to imagine, but also true. Contrast with the reality that the feds control just about 5% of the eastern United States. This has huge implications for our nation and our economy. So much of America is locked up on federal lands, and yet the federal government is not doing a very good job of maintaining this property. To better understand the problem, we've invited Jennifer Fielder, the CEO of the American Lands Council, along with Ken Ivory, my friend from the Utah legislature, who is also the ALC co-founder. For background, I heard Jennifer on a call not long ago explaining the problem. Jennifer served in the Montana State Senate. And I first heard about ALC from my friend, Utah State Representative Ken Ivory. I worked with Ken when I did a consulting project for the Utah Federal Funds Risk Commission. Welcome, Jennifer and Ken.
Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Kevin. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Well, let's start with you, Jennifer. What is the American Lands Council and what is its purpose?
Well, the American Lands Council is a nonprofit organization that is leading the charge for better access, health, and productivity on federally controlled lands. We are pursuing constitutionally sound, sustainable solutions for our federal lands that actually should be state-controlled lands. And we consist of elected officials and resource experts, researchers, public land users, and other citizens that are serious supporters of improvement on public lands.
Yeah, and you've been the CEO there since what, 2016, something like that?
Somewhere around there, yeah. Ken Ivory was the original president and CEO, and he turned the reins over to me a few years ago, and I've been trying to do the best I can and to follow his footsteps ever since.
Well, I think you're doing a terrific job. And Ken, you just got ranked. Matt Schlapp sent me an email talking about the top most conservative legislators across the country and in Utah in particular, and your name is at the top of the list. Congratulations.
Well, thanks. We just try to do what's right and let the chips fall where they fall. And, you know, that's it's getting harder and harder to do anymore. But no, it's good. It's great to be recognized that way. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you co-founded the American Lands Council. Why did you do it? What was your motive?
Yeah, you know, Kevin, in 2011, when I was elected, everyone was talking about Utah was $2.5 billion below average in per pupil funding. And some were suggesting tweak the tax code, and that would be a $30 or a $40 million change. But when you look at something to deal with something that big, the only solution big enough was to look at this, in Utah, 63% federally controlled land that is non-taxable. We only have 20% taxable land in Utah. So as we started to look at that, county commissioners came together. They were very concerned. We learned that our statehood promises are exactly the same for all the states east and west. Federal government just wasn't honoring the same promise. So got together, they formed the American Lands Council, asked me to start telling the story.